Hello, and welcome to the Hidden Gems Show. This is the show where we interview local business owners from around the world. I'm your host, Safir Jamal, and today I am joined by my friend Kyla Quinn from Mexico City. Hi, Kyla.
Hi, Safir. How are you?
Good, good. How's it going?
Good. I'm well.
Awesome, awesome. Are you in Mexico City?
Yes, I'm in Mexico City in Roma Norte.
Fantastic, fantastic. We can see the beautiful space that you're in, and I know you're going to talk about that. So, Kyla, you and I first met, I think it was earlier in 2024 when I was in Mexico City, and you were telling me all about the new business that you had started called Casa Planta Alma. So, maybe you can tell us a little bit about what Casa Planta Alma is all about.
So Casa Planta Alma is a conscious community, and I started this space with two other friends who wanted to create a different environment for people to connect more deeply with themselves and with others.
Very cool, very cool. And so, when you say it's for the conscious community, are there certain types of individuals that would find this to be a better fit for them?
Totally, people who are searching for an alternative lifestyle and people who are interested in their spiritual path, people who
Interesting.
are in personal development, and people who are just curious to see like the alternative lifestyle, what it could look like for them. So we have a lot of people coming in also searching for what it is that they're looking for in their life to be
Wow.
more. Mhm.
Very interesting. Very cool. And so, how long have you been in and around the conscious community?
Well, I can say I grew up very religious, so it's something that has felt comfortable to me throughout my whole life, talking about spirituality.
Okay.
But then I kind of, in my college years and in my early 20s, like I kind of distanced myself from that. And then the pandemic kind of, or even before the pandemic, I was looking more into meditation, also personal development, and trying to find ways to be fulfilled instead of just like fleeting happiness. So,
Interesting.
and then the pandemic kind of sparked my own spiritual journey and seeking to see what else is there more for me to live and how can I live a more fulfilled life. And before that, I was living in New York City and wasn't really feeling that I had found my calling. But then during the pandemic, I was able to find sound healing and started doing that practice when I moved to Mexico City. And then that kind of spiraled into making a space for this type of work.
Very interesting. Wow. And so, how long have you been living in Mexico City now?
It's 3 years on August 1st. So I just
Okay.
my 3 year anniversary recently.
Felicidades. Amazing. So, I'm curious. I mean, you mentioned quite a lot of things I just really want to dive into. You mentioned sound healing. You mentioned a bit of spirituality, kind of coming from a bit more of a religious background as well, which is really interesting. So, for someone who is not part of the conscious community, but who is curious, maybe it would help to just explain a little bit about what goes on within the spaces that you are able to build and the types of people who come in. What types of activities, what types of behaviors or conversations can someone expect if they're just totally foreign to this world?
Sure. Like I can say conscious community, but I can also say wellness community as well.
Okay.
Uh, so I think something that's easier for people to understand would be we do have yoga classes here.
Mhm.
Um, and sound healing is sound meditation and it helps to relax the nervous system. So we do also other activities for you to get more in touch with who you really are. And sometimes there's a lot of distractions in our world and in our
Of course.
society.
Yeah.
We are never ever really quiet to listen to what's happening internally, what's happening inside. So we facilitate a lot of these types of events where you can reflect on the past of what has happened in your life, where you're at, where you're looking forward towards, like also to manifest and to bring in new things, but also to let go and release of things that are not serving you anymore.
I
And
love
also
that.
to just and a lot of the things we do has a meditative aspect to it. So to also learn how to be living in the present moment.
I think we can all benefit from a lot more of that. So that's great, and having a dedicated space for that is fantastic. Can you tell us a little bit about the space itself? Because I think when we chatted, it was the space that kind of inspired you to start this business. Am I right?
Yes, it was kind of out of necessity because it is still an apartment where people are living here,
Mm-hmm.
but there was a huge living room space that is like a multifunctional space that we can transform into doing events. So when my one of the co-founders, she found the space and she practices Tantra. She's a Tantric practitioner and I'm a sound healer. And both of us were looking for a place to be our home as well as our workspace.
Got it.
Both of us didn't really have a lot of money. So we just we didn't want to pay rent doing our work. So that was kind of the initial idea. And then it just grew and blossomed, and I've had this space for a little over 2 years now. So with consistency, it just kind of built a reputation, and people through word of mouth, through WhatsApp groups, and
Yeah,
it's been beautiful blossoming.
I love that. And so, how often do you hold events at Casa Planta Alma?
Weekly. We have
Weekly.
3 yoga classes a week, one sound healing
Oh wow.
week, and then we also have special events. So sometimes we'll do women's circles, we'll do events with psilocybin,
Oh wow.
psilocybin ceremonies, and also like intimate concerts. So things where people can really connect with each other.
I love that. It's such a beautiful space, and great. I mean, both literally and figuratively. I think that that's fantastic. Um, Kyla, tell me a little bit about what the community in Mexico City in particular is like. What do you see in terms of the types of people who come by? Are we seeing a lot of Mexican locals? Is it a lot of nomads, foreigners? What kind of draws them in? I'm curious.
Oh, the people coming into Casa Planta Alma?
Yeah, yeah.
I would say it's a mix. Well, I am a foreigner, so
Hmm.
I am kind of the main figure of the space. So I do
Hmm.
attract more of like the foreigners that come in, but we do have facilitators that are from Mexico and Mexico City. So
Yeah,
they also bring in their community as well. And so yeah, it's quite a mix. And I have a lot of Mexican friends, and I also have a lot of friends who are foreigners as well.
yeah.
But yeah, it's a nice mix of everyone. So it's
That's amazing.
international as well as local.
Very cool. Very cool. I mean, of course, Mexico City has a special place in my heart, given how much time I spend there, and it's really kind of a second home for me. Curious, in the last 3 years since you've moved from New York to Mexico City, um, how do you like the city? Any thoughts, observations, feelings about the city as a whole?
I'm in love with Mexico City, so
It's the best.
yeah, it's really
Yeah.
beautiful. Like someone described Mexico City to me as Paris in the jungle.
Ooh,
And I
interesting.
really like that because it has like a lot of the beautiful architecture and then
Yeah.
a lot of green, uh, yeah, a lot of greenery, and
Yeah. Yeah.
it's really beautiful walking around and mhm,
Definitely.
admiring.
It's
But
always so
also,
surprising to me that a city of like, almost 30 million people has this much green space. It's really
mm,
spectacular because you don't see that very often. And I'm also enthralled by the architecture and just the vibe of the place. It's super nice, but you really don't get the sense that it's just massive mega city, because I think it's really well laid out, or at least the parts of the city that we explore tend to have a lot of nature and a lot of green space, which is always nice.
mhm. Yeah, and also Mexico City in general just has a really amazing collaborative vibe. When people come here, it's really easy to share and to create and to start something new, to be explorative with your ideas. So I think that's something like that's also the energy that Mexico City already had before I came here was that way. And then I kind of just jumped in and like connected into that energy and that channel. And then everything has just been been possible.
Very
Because
cool. Very
if
cool.
I were to do this project in New York City, it wouldn't work.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. And so is it the collaborative vibes that you're referring to in Mexico City that make this
Yeah,
project particularly successful in that environment?
totally.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, I definitely love the nomad community in Mexico City. Very welcoming, tons of amazing people. I'm curious, how has the nomad community in particular been receptive to Casa Planta Alma? And do you still interact with the nomad community in the same degree as maybe you did in the early days of the business?
Um, well, I focus on reaching out to people that are interested in the consciousness and well-being spaces. I
Hmm.
haven't so much uh been in the nomad spaces. So it was really cool to meet you
Yeah,
so that we can collaborate.
totally.
Like this place is known through a lot of nomadic people,
Hmm.
and like they'll find it through friends or yeah, word of mouth, or like we do have a lot of people that are nomadic and transitory that come through,
Yeah.
and also that are looking for specific experiences.
I think that that's what's really unique to me, and what stood out to me most about the business you've built is that these are experiences that you just don't really have access to otherwise, right? It's not that easy to find. Maybe there are certain circles, but it's not that easy to come across these unless you're really looking for them. So I think it's great that you're offering this to people who probably are in search of it but don't really know, especially in a new city if you're coming to. You might not necessarily know where to find them, or even if you found those experiences, I imagine it's less about the experience itself, but more about the people that you can share that experience with, right? To create that safe space.
Yeah, it's the connection piece, that human connection piece that we're all looking for, and especially if you're nomadic. Um, Whenever you go into a new city, you're looking for people who are like-minded that you want to connect
Yeah,
with. Also to have like um yeah, to have like a deeper experience. So that's what we
right.
offer here. Hmm.
Very interesting. Very cool. Fantastic, Kyla. And if people who are listening to the show want to check out Casa Planta Alma, or if they want to learn more, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you, or for them to learn more about the business?
It would be Instagram for now.
Okay.
The how do you call it? The handle is
Handle.
Casa Planta Alma. And we also have a WhatsApp group.
Okay.
I can send you the link. I don't know if you
Yeah.
could
Can share that
uh,
with our viewers. Yeah.
share that, and people can join the WhatsApp group,
Awesome.
and they can ask, or they can say, hey, introduce themselves and say that they're going to be in town and see what's going on.
Awesome.
So yeah.
For sure. We'll make sure that our community is aware, and that whenever they're in Mexico City, they get a chance to check out Casa Planta Alma. But yeah, really, really cool what you're doing, Kyla. Wish you all the best, and excited to see how the community continues to support you, and how the community continues to grow. So looking forward to staying on the journey here. But yeah, thanks so much, Kyla. We'll catch up with you soon.
Thanks, Safir. Have a beautiful day, and thanks for having me
Thanks.
on.
Thanks. Our pleasure. Cheers.
Bye.